we'll see how it works. I think the only science you believe in is when it comes to biology, or when it comes to biology as crickets. Yeah, I mean, I know you guys are anti-trans, obviously, but if you're welcome to come on up and talk about it if you believe there's anything that's anti-science. That's the whole point of this topic. If you believe anything is anti-science on the left, but my claim's the other way. I think you guys are anti-science. His argument that, well, he was kind of jumping around with his argument. Initially, he said that CO2 levels were lower before humans came about, or before at least the mass production of things. I showed the CO2 levels going up, and he said that was not what he said. So, I don't know. We didn't really get to that point. Cross-dressers, yeah, that's a thing. It's a thing that people do. I'm not sure how that bothers you. Not sure how that's anti-science. But anyways, I hope you guys are all having a good morning. If you're joining live, number one, click the follow button, send in the heart me if you can. And if you guys can keep engaging in the comments, that would be great. We are looking for opposition. If you do disagree with the background, the context of the background, come on up. Treasonous. Treasonous about what? It's important that you use words that you know the meaning of. So I'd like to tell you, I'd like you to tell me specifically what they're doing that's treasonous. Well, someone wearing a dress is very, very problematic. Can't have people wearing dresses, God forbid. Science is the study of God. That's interesting. Never heard that one before. They stand for illegal foreigners instead of citizens. I don't think there's any policy that has stated that at all. I think you let Donald Trump's little performative thing the other day kind of brainwash you. But that really has nothing to do with the topic. That has nothing to do with being anti-health or science. It's sort of a different topic, really. Science can be manipulated. Sure, nobody says otherwise, but if you don't have the intelligence and the wherewithal to know when science in one instance is maybe not holding as much ground as another instance, then maybe you're not the one that should be looking into it. Your lack of ability to be able to understand science is not a reason to disregard science altogether. Yeah, I'm not sure what that has to do with the topic. If you really want to talk about citizens and non-citizens, you are welcome to go to a different live, I suppose, but this is just about health and science. Hello, how you doing?
I'm okay. I mean, what about the petroleum thing? I mean, you don't think it was good that we were eating petroleum, do you?
What is that?
I said, what about the petroleum thing? You don't think it's good to eat petroleum, do you?
What about eating petroleum? What do you mean?
Like they took that petroleum food diet, like they basically banned it, like it is in pretty much every other country in the world.
What is specifically banned?
That one food dye that they made from petroleum.
What was the food there?
I'll look it up.
I don't know what you're talking about. I just want to make sure I know which one you're talking about. Are you referring to Red 40?
Probably.
Red 40 is not banned. Yeah, it's not banned.
Let's see. I almost want to say yellow 5, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I'm not sure anybody has a problem with dyes being banned. Some of these artificial dyes that you're referring to. I just think the the efficacy of its benefits are probably very overstated, though, of it being banned. I think it's fine, but if you're expecting to have like mass differences in our health because of it, I think you're gonna be a little disappointed.
I'm not saying everybody's going to be cured. I mean, it's a step in the right direction. Like,
I
I mean,
think
who
if
knows?
I think if this administration specifically RFK really did care about people's health and was knowledgeable enough on it, I think you'd be advocating for things that affected people's health more. Again, not saying Red 40 taking that away is a bad thing, um, but number one, it hasn't. But two, I think you'd be focusing on more expansive and affordable healthcare, which would objectively help people's health. Obviously, I think having better education surrounding health would be better as well. I don't see that being advocated for, really, since the Department of Education was rooted out. We're not really having anything with healthcare, so where are those things getting better?
In April 2025, the Trump administration announced a major initiative to phase out petroleum based synthetic food dyes such as Red 40, Yellow 5, and Blue 1 from the U.S. food supply by the end of 2026.
Yeah,
Sooner would
well,
be
yeah,
better, but at least
I
we're getting
think
it
if
done.
that, I think if they follow through on that, I would like to make sure that they followed through because uh, I'm not sure to just that you should just accept that it's going to happen. But if it follows through, yeah, I don't think that's a bad thing. I just don't really think that's going to have a major difference in people's health.
And like, what about like you don't think we should eat more protein or like
Yeah, sure.
you should,
I think those are all good things. Yeah, I think having more protein is good. But when this administration is advocating that people have high saturated fats, that's not advocating for people's health. Like if they're advocating for higher red meat intake and higher meat intake in general, yeah, you're going to get more protein. But if you're going to get it paired with saturated fat, that's probably not the best way to get your protein in general. If you're going to be
like,
advocating to the entire population.
yeah, I don't know if they're cutting down on sugar. I mean, I think sugar's like pretty horrible, but I mean, I think they're making way more steps than I don't know if we made any steps in the last 100 years in the right direction. But
Well, our health has objectively gotten better in the last 100 years. The life expectancy has gone up by a factor of at least two or three. I mean, the average lifespan 100 years ago was probably in the 40s, uh, give or take. We're in the what upper 60s now. I think is the average lifespan 68, 69, something like that. Clearly, it's
yeah,
gone up.
it seems like
Rates of cancer have gone down. So I mean, a lot. There are some things that have gotten worse, sure, but there have been a lot of things that have gotten better too.
I mean, for as much like especially access to fruit and vegetables, like I mean, even well, I don't know how long refrigerators have been around, but I mean, 100 years ago, like, I don't think they even had refrigerators.
Well,
Like
well, exactly. Food practices and food storages have gotten better, right? So we've had refrigerators, which significantly will help things, right? Our practices towards like pasteurizing milk rather than having raw milk have helped. Cooking things in general, all of those have made strides to making things better.
I mean, 100 years ago, people were unaliving in childbirth, like
Hmm.
not just 40s, like
Well, that's why I said average lifespan.
yeah.
Yeah, the reason why is because we had such a low or high infant mortality rate. Um, Yeah, let me see what it was back then. Let me just, I just
Yeah,
want
and
to make sure I get
I'm
the.
sure prenatal care has been improvement, so it's like I feel like we should be living a lot longer than we are. You saying we only got 2 or 3 years and like
2 or 3 years what?
on our life expectancy?
No, let me see how long it's been going on. Let me see here. Well, that's I don't want to look at global life expectancy. I'd rather look at U.S. life expectancy if I can find it. Um, Life expectancy. I mean, yeah, I mean it's been going up a bit. This chart doesn't go back that much, but even in the last 40 years, it's gone up 6 or 7 years, it looks like, which is a pretty
Oh, that
significant amount.
much?
Yeah, just in the last 40 years, from what I can see.
Huh.
Let's see what it was in the 1900, early
Oh
1900s. Yeah,
gosh.
yeah, it was mid upper 40s. So whoever
Oh
was laughing,
gosh.
say I had
Whoa.
that incredibly wrong. No, it was mid upper 40s in the early 1900s. Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't have I mean I think it was pretty common women unalive during childbirth long ago. Like,
Hmm?
yeah,
Sure.
C-sections. I think that C-section really saves a lot of lives alone. But
100%, Kim. 100%. So, um, yeah, but anyways, no, all I'm trying to say is that lifespan is going up. I think people focus so much on the negatives in our society in regards to health that they don't recognize that, yeah, again, our lifespan has gone up. Rates of cancer have gone down. A lot of areas we've gotten healthier due to modern medicine, technology, etc.
yeah, well, hopefully this administration like does more and it goes up in at least another year or two. But I mean, we'll find out. I don't think they're going to have a huge impact. Like Americans aren't going to change their diets and stop eating sugar. But
Well, that's the thing. So they made the new food pyramid, which I think was silly just because nobody ever follows it. Nobody ever followed the old food pyramid. There was the
yeah,
My Plate afterwards, which nobody knew about, but it was a thing. But nobody follows those things. The things that you need to do from like a governmental aspect is to implement changes that would have like a wide scale effect on focusing on better foods, not just saying, hey, here's this chart, follow it, because that's not going to happen.
and I doubt they'll go against the corruption. But I mean, that would help because I think I'm pretty sure we subsidize like wheat and like GMO wheat, GMO corn, GMO soybeans. Like I think that's our top three foods in the USA. I think beef would be better to eat than those. But
Well, I mean, listen, you have to listen. There's a lot of benefits to GMOs, like being able to have food on a much wider scale. To, I mean, hopefully at one point eliminate starvation, but at the very least minimize it. That absolutely is a lot for that to occur. GMOs, and I know people seem to have problems with GMOs, whatever, but it's allowed for again the wide scale production of those things, which I think is extremely important for worldwide hunger.
I mean, you're talking about science. What have you ever looked up the LD50 for Roundup?
Yeah, what about it?
Like, how high is it?
The exact dose off the top of my head, I can find out. I don't know what it is. And guys, keep tapping, keep sharing. We can get to a new guest in a bit. I don't see anybody in the request box actually, but yeah, guys, keep tapping and sharing. Let me see what it is. The LD50 for Roundup.
I'm curious.
Let's see. Yeah, for glyphosate, generally reported to be it's about 4 to 5,000 milligrams per kilogram in rat studies, at least. So we're looking about
Oh, that
five
high.
5 grams per kilogram.
I'm surprised. I would have expected it to be lower than that. Like, man, that's kind
Uh,
of high for.
well, I mean, the question is what that's in, is that in significantly lower doses than that dose, right? That's the question you probably should be asking.
Yeah, how much Roundup do Americans eat a year?
Well,
I'd be
let's see
curious on
how
that.
much glyphosate is in. We'll say I don't know, just food, whatever. Um, yeah, well, they're going by parts per million. It could be 60 to 150 parts per 1 billion or parts per billion. But what was I saying? 4 to 5,000 grams per kilogram. I mean, we're talking way, 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 like exponentially way below that limit.
Yeah,
Like
I feel like we
exponentially
should.
below that limit. Listen, listen. When it comes to glyphosate, there are problems when it comes to the farmers. But when it comes to it being in our food, I'm not saying it's a completely non-issue, but it is at significantly lower doses than I think is worth being like hyper obsessed over.
So you're not I guess you're not a fan of the carnivore diet then.
Yeah. Um, Not particularly, no. I think it's good that it encourages people to eat more protein, but I don't like it that typically people who follow it tend to have low fiber. The diet itself encourages you to have a little no fiber and high saturated fats, which I think is a recipe for nothing good. I think
I mean, have
short term,
you watched?
short term, yes, you do see people get some health benefits from it because typically speaking, if you go from eating a very processed, just shit diet, like standard American diet, we'll call it, to eating higher protein foods and lower calories and all that, yeah, you're going to feel better temporarily. Long term, it's not going to be beneficial, though, in my opinion.
Have you ever watched Ken Baker on YouTube? That guy is jacked.
Ken Baker, well, I recognize the name. Let me look them up. Give me 1 second.
He was targeted. Like I think I want to say, well, maybe it wasn't the Obama administration, but
Oh, you mean
he was really.
not Ken? Is it you're talking Dr. Sean Baker? Is that who
Oh,
you're
was it
referring
Sean?
to?
Yeah, probably Sean Baker. My bad.
Yeah, he very much advocated for the carnivore diet.
That guy is jacked.
Are you insinuating that the carnivore diet is a good diet?
Yeah, I mean, I think more people should try it. Like carnivore or Atkins. I think both of them can be pretty beneficial. And then, have you
Why?
ever looked at the wheat? Like the old, I think Einhard wheat was probably better for us than the durum wheat we're using now. But
I just want to and Ryan and the guest request. I'm going to get to you pretty shortly, guys. We can get to a new one at 15,000 likes if you guys want to tap and share. Why do you think the carnivore diet is a good diet? You there? You left? Okay. All right. Well, you're welcome to come back. Keep tapping and sharing, guys. People on the tube. I'll give you the number to call in a little bit if you guys want to come on up after this guest. Hey, Ryan, how you doing?
I was just gonna say the carnival diet it changed my life, but I think you're right. It's really I did it for about 3 weeks and it was fantastic, man. Like I felt really good afterwards. But like you said, like long term, I don't think it's the way to go. Like I just don't think it's sustainable long term. But I mean,
Well,
I ate red meat and chicken for like 3 weeks with no processed foods, and I felt fucking amazing, dude.
how come you didn't continue it longer than the 3 weeks?
Why didn't I?
Yeah.
To be honest, I went out and there was like a dessert at the end of the night,
Hmm.
and so I just broke it there and then like ate cake. Like it was a lava cake from Chili's. This was last month, like the beginning of the year. I wanted
Why
to do like the
but why did you not just continue? Like that's fine. Like not everybody can stick to a diet 100%. In fact, most people can't, and I don't think that's a bad thing. But how come you didn't just continue it afterwards? Like why didn't you
Oh
just
well, I
eat
do.
that and
Like
go
I
back?
only, I like every day. Well, most days I just eat ground beef and eggs for
Uh,
dinner, which kind of sounds gross, but I just try to stay away from processed foods. I mean, it really is that easy. Like if you just stay
sure.
away from
I,
those,
I I think
huh?
that's fine. Oh, I think staying away from processed foods is that's great. However, that's not the carnivore diet, though. That's not one and the same of the carnivore diet. Like one can stay away from processed foods and not be on the quote unquote carnivore diet.
Right. I guess for me personally, like it just translated into that. Like I did the carnival diet,
Why do
and
you
then
keep
it
saying
translated
carnival?
to like
What are you
I
purposely
know.
saying
I'm
that
sorry.
carnivore? Okay.
No,
Uh,
I'm not. Um,
okay.
and then it translated into like being more aware of what I'm putting in my mouth, I guess.
But do you not have any fruits and vegetables?
Oh no, now I do. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I mean,
Okay.
I eat broccoli, like a bag. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But
All right.
yeah,
Well, yeah.
I
Then
just
then
wanted
then
to
I
kind of get
think
my
you're just
advice.
eating. I mean, from the very small amount of information you gave me, it just sounds like you're eating a healthy diet. It doesn't sound like you're eating, following a specific diet, so to speak, though. But well, all right,
No,
man.
I
All right.
guess
Well,
yeah.
I
But the
guess if you don't disagree, let me go ahead and bring you down. All right. Take care. His background noise was a little annoying, anyways. All right, guys. Again, if you're joining live, keep tapping and sharing. Make sure you click the follow button if you can. Let me shift this back. I hate every time a guest comes on up, it shifts the background. It's really annoying that it does that. I don't really know why it does that. But if you do disagree with the background, there's the request button at the bottom, and people on the tube. I'm going to put the number up in a second so you can call in. All right. So you guys are welcome to call in there. I think I just need to pull up the Google Voice, I guess. Eggs is the best. Vegetables, fresh meat, better than processed food. Yeah, Chris, it sounds like we're in agreement from the comments I have read so far. Didn't Trump just bow to the chemical company? Yeah, if you're talking about glyphosate. Yeehaw! Did somebody just send one? I just saw it. I don't know if he did. If red meat is still cooked, is it still red meat? That's a good question. Depends on your perceptions of colors, I suppose. Brown meat. Dark brown meat. Michaela Peterson recently quit. She was unfortunately, her and Jordan Peterson were one of the advocates of the carnivore diet. They helped push it. It's going to start fading out soon. It's already been around for, like, in the limelight, at least for the last 3, 4, 5 years. Probably more. I mean, more for sure, but like that's how long it's been like really big. It'll start kind of bringing momentum in the other way and phasing out. There'll be some other fad diet that's going to come on. Didn't the Atkins diet guy die? That I don't know, Amy. Like of old age or health reasons or what? What is up, Nicholas in the tube? How are you? Heart disease. Interesting. I do think it is important to mention out that you were insinuating this. Whether the founder of some diet died at an early age, regular age, old age, for this reason or that reason, doesn't necessarily indicate whether that diet is good or bad for you, obviously. He did die from heart disease. I'm just, in general, relatively anti-fad diets. I just think they probably cause more harm than good. I think there has been obviously a lot of positive anecdotes of people's lives, rather their health improving from going on an Atkins diet or the carnivore diet or whatever fad diet you can think of. But for every one person where they had a success story, where it's been a long-term success story, there's probably several more that had issues with it and probably ended up regaining weight and probably didn't have their health improve. And I just think there's probably better ways um, to speak towards people to get them to change their eating habits, to communicate it. There's probably better ways. And I just don't think fad diets are the thing that are a net benefit, personally. He fell and hit his head, maybe because he was low carb and just didn't feel good and fell over. No, I lied. He had heart disease and was obese, but he died from a head injury. Gotcha. I did vegan for 3 months. Well, I mean, listen, vegan would be the only diet that one could do that I guess would be for ethical reasons. I mean, I can't really think of any other diet that would be for ethical reasons. So I think that's fine. I think if you have ethical reasons that you don't want to eat animal-based foods, I think that's great. Go for it. What is up, church?
Oh, bless in the name of Jesus Christ. What you doing, beta boy?
Not much, man. I just need to know your age. How old are you?
42.
All right. What's on your mind, and what do you disagree with?
Oh, I just see this. Oh, it's always the beta boys who hate Trump. It's like too much mothering and not enough father time. You know what I mean?
Okay, cool. So what do you disagree
And
with
shout
on
out to
screen?
Jesus Christ.
So what do you disagree with on screen?
MAGA stuff. I don't really
Well, read
care
it.
about none of that stuff.
Yeah, read it. Use your words. You know how to read. What is it that you disagree with?
And soy are not bad, but raw milk is. Okay, great.
Okay, well,
Good
this is
job.
stuff that
You
you
really
should have.
made
This
sense.
is stuff that you should have read before you came up. So what is
Yeah,
it
I
that
mean, I
you?
really don't care, brother.
Well, you do. You care enough to come up. So what is it that you
Oh, of course,
disagree
talk
with?
about Jesus Christ and read the
That's
Word
fine.
of God.
That's fine. What do you disagree with on screen that you have evidence to prove me wrong for?
You type of people. We need to get rid of you type of people out
Well,
of
that didn't
America.
really answer my question. So you think soy is bad for people, right?
What?
You think soy is bad for people, correct?
Jesus said, "Not what goes into a man's mouth that defiles him, but what comes
Do you want
out
to
of the
engage in
man's
the
mouth that defiles him."
conversation? If you want to do
I
your
just
own
did.
live,
I'm
no,
answering your question. You just don't like what I'm
you're
saying,
totally
unfortunately.
welcome.
It's
You're
kind of
totally
going over your head too,
you're
a little
totally
bit.
welcome to stream anything that you want. But when you're up here, you're just
Yeah,
answer the
absolutely.
question.
Yeah,
Do you believe?
homosexuality is an abomination
So
to
you believe?
God
Oh,
too. I
right.
want
But
to
I'm
point that
talking
out.
about soy. Do you think soy is bad for you?
Oh, I got you. Yeah, soy boys. Yeah, I know them.
I'm asking. Do you think soy is bad for people? It's a
I
yes
could
or
care
no.
less. Like I said, Jesus says, "Not what goes into a man's mouth
Well,
that defiles him,
yeah.
but
So
what
you're
comes
not
out."
answering the question. Do you believe
It means
soy
anything
is
I take in
good?
my mouth that
Do you
it's gonna
believe
be all
soy
right.
is
Nothing's
good or
gonna happen to
bad
me.
for people?
Don't care. Really don't. Doesn't
Okay.
really move me at all.
Okay. Well, you don't seem to
It's a
want
waste
to
of time.
engage
You
in the
need to read your word
conversation.
of
So
God,
take
brother.
care. Okay. All right. I'll get on that. I think you just wanted to call somebody a soy boy for their day and get on with your day. Why don't you just start your own stream, man? Like, this isn't your live stream, so we're not going to run it the way that you want. I know you think that's what was going to happen. Well, he was a shit pastor, if he is a pastor. Disregard all evidence. Don't accept questions. If anybody questions anything, no, you're not allowed to do that. It's all about God and the Word of God. That's all that matters. Do not question anything else. Remember, those watching on the tube, there's that phone number that you can call on in if you want to speak. God gave us a kosher diet because the ones who created us knows the best ways to maintain us. Well, listen, if you want to be religious, I think that's fine, but clearly we've made a lot of advancements in society as far as technology and medicine and health has gone, clearly. So, obviously, sure, there's a lot of things that we can eat that were quote unquote put on the earth, but we have made advancements beyond that, which I think should be recognized. Jesus says Trump sucks. I would imagine that. I would imagine if Jesus existed today, that would be something that he would insinuate. But hey, what do we know? Health, meaning medical establishment. Yeah, whatever you want to call it. As we were talking about earlier in the live, I'm not sure if you were in it or not. Of course, the average lifespan has gone up quite a bit due to many factors. So, again, all I'm telling you is to acknowledge that. Hey, Erica, how are you?
I just wanted to say I don't think the carnivore diet is very masculine. Because any diet where the only thing you put in your mouth is meat, it's not very masculine.
Well, that is true. And yeah, somebody mentioned that the average lifespan is going down. I know it went down for a few years during COVID, but I think it has since bumped back up, if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check. Average US. How's your day been going, Erica?
Right. I don't know how to feel about this. I got told by a group of 10 and 11 years old, 10 and 11 years old today that I'm just too cute for words.
That's,
I
well,
think
yeah, I don't
I
know how
think
you're,
I
yeah.
think I think they liked my outfit. I think it was about that. But it was a bit weird.
Yeah, yeah, that would make me feel a little awkward if that happened to me the other way around. Um, That's interesting. All right, let's pull up the life expectancy. I just want to look at a chart. Yeah, it did go down during COVID. So if we're looking at the U.S. currently, at least as of the last full year, we're just shy of 80. We're looking at 79.4. So prior to COVID in 2019, it was at 78. It went down to 76, down to 76 and lower change, and then it creeped back up to near 80. So we will probably be at 80 within the next 10 years, it seems, at least, based on the chart.
I was interested to. I was listening on my way, teleporting home from, work, and I was just interested when the guy said we used to have people die in childbirth. Uh, you
Oh,
still
you heard that?
do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, at 3 times the rate of most developing nations.
Is it really that higher of a rate?
Yeah, the UK is like 6. The US is like 18 per. I think it's per million.
What should I type in? Rate of women unaliving in
It's
childbirth, or
do rate of maternal mortality by country.
rate of maternal mortality? If you guys disagree with the background, remember hit the guest request button on TikTok. On the 2, please dial the number. All right, let's see. Maternal mortality defined as deaths per 100,000. Gosh, yeah, it ranges from near zero in nations like Norway to over 500 in sub-Saharan Africa. All right, let's look at the U.S. though. All right, list of countries by maternal ratio would probably be the thing we're looking at, right? So, the U.S. God, I have to go through this whole fucking list. 9.8. 9.8 per whatever it is. And let's look at, say, Sweden is half that. It's 4.5. Switzerland 7.4. Spain 3.4. So that'd be a third of it, which would be, you're right, 3 times. Yeah, I see some other nations with very low ones. Poland 2. Norway 1.7. That's wild. Israel 2.8. Yeah.
What do all those countries with lower maternal mortality rates have in
Universal
common,
healthcare.
Douglas? Universal healthcare. And when you look up the rate for black women, by the way, it goes way up.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I like. There's literally no good argument for not having universal health care. Even economically, it would help us. Possibly in the short term, things may go up, but certainly long term, it wouldn't. Like, there's just literally no reason for us not to have it. Like, I can't at this point take anybody seriously who would, in good faith, argue otherwise. I mean, unless somebody in the comments wants to come on up and try to give a good argument as to why universal healthcare within America wouldn't be a benefit, just all around, really. I mean, they would have to face it in, and I think a lot of times that people will straw man that and say, "Well, how are you just going to implement that overnight?" Nobody's saying that. You can phase it in, because right now for Medicare, it's 65 and up, right? I forget what the exact age is, but whatever, 65 and up. You can then, for the next 5-10 years, have 55 and up, 45 and up, and then go in there. You have to phase it in. That's
We
how it will
phased
go.
it was phased in here over a period of about
How long?
10.
10 years. Okay.
I think it's a period about 10, 15 years, something like that.
Yeah, that's how you do it. Over the long term, it certainly saves a lot. I forget what that study showed. Over a 10-year, saves something like it was anywhere between 1 and 3 trillion. I forget what it was, but it was certainly a significant number. And the thing is, we already have it within the U.S. military, right? Like we show, and obviously the military is not 300 million plus people. I think we're all aware of that. But if we see other countries with tens of millions of people implement it, we have implemented in parts of our society. There's no reason why we cannot expand it. There's no reason whatsoever. It's just lack of good politicians and lack of having the right politicians being able to push for it.
Yeah, China has universal healthcare for far more people than are in the US.
Oh yeah.
India, about 60% of the population in India have universal healthcare. They don't, their whole population doesn't have it, but about 60% of the people do. And both of those, 60% of India is more than the number of people in the United States.
Oh yeah, no. Oh, absolutely it is. Because what's the population of India? It's like a billion, right?
It's bigger than China now in terms of
Really?
population.
In a much
Yeah.
smaller space than China
Yeah.
land.
I don't know. I don't
No,
know.
they
Hang on a
definitely
minute.
are. I mean, I could be wrong there, but what square mile of India versus China? Um, Let's see. All right, so China's 3.7. Yeah, India's 1.2. So we're talking near a third of it, really. Oh yeah, yeah. It's China's
Yeah, far bigger. You're right.
almost 3 times bigger. Yeah.
It's very
With you
difficult
said
to.
more people,
It's a,
right? With more people, India.
yeah, yeah.
Gosh.
India's got more people now. It's very difficult to tell on because the way that maps of the world are scaled, they're
Well,
not
that's true.
scaled
That's true.
correctly to
So I
show.
want to look up
It's,
India's population per square mile. I guess would be the thing
yeah,
I'm looking up.
population density.
Yeah, yeah. I'd imagine theirs is incredibly high. We're looking at 1.2 or 1,200 per square mile. Okay, one of the most densely populated nations in the world. Sure, that makes sense. God damn, that's wild to me. Check it out. So India contains roughly 17.8% of the world's population. Let's round that up to 18. 18% of the world's population, almost 1/5, but it comprises only 2% of the world's land area. That is absolutely insane. It's very, very wild to me.
What's the population density of the UK, Doug?
Let's see. Population density. Okay. Far less. We're looking at about 285 to 289 people per square kilometer.
Per square kilometre rather than square mile.
Was I reading square mile before?
You read square mile for India and then you
Well,
just read
shit.
square
Here, let's
kilometre.
do population density UK versus India. Let's just do that. That'll mean that. Um. Okay, so 12. It's about twice. So yeah, so roughly 1,264 people per square mile in India, compared to 741 in the UK.
Because we're a
It's about
relatively
double.
densely
Yeah.
populated nation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Far more densely populated than the US.
Well, so it says the UK has almost 70 million people. I didn't know that. Really, that
Yeah.
much? Wow,
Yeah, we have 1/5
that's
of the US
wild.
population. We have 1/5 of the US population in 1/40th of the landmass.
Gosh. Yeah, so you have a density of 741 per square mile. Let's look up the US though. US
And
population.
it will be
It's gonna be so much less.
5 people and 10 cows.
It's about 100, nearly 100 per square mile. What did I say the UK was? 7 something?
740 something.
God damn, a 7 times population density. Jesus.
You cannot. There would be virtually no circumstance here where you could walk for a whole day without seeing another person. Like it just wouldn't. You'd reach a
Well,
road or
what's
like.
people's excuses that we can't implement universal healthcare here? Is it that they say there's too many people? I mean, that's
There's
one
too
of them,
many
that we
people.
too many
Yeah.
people, but would it well, I don't know if population density would be an argument for them. Probably not. Yeah,
I mean,
I mean,
I don't think population density is an argument. I also don't think like distance from health facilities is an argument. Because it's likely that your local health facility would be covered by whatever your universal healthcare system was. Because private hospitals, unless they're like, I don't know, rehab facilities, or they tend not to kind of be in the middle of nowhere, do they?
right. What are these YouTube comments? We are not India or China. Thank you. I am aware that the U.S. is not India or China.
What?
They are different countries. Congratulations, guys.
What the hell? Who? Why didn't I know this?
Oh, well, here it is. Why should one person be forced to pay for another's expenses? You,
That's
you,
what insurance. That's what
you,
insurance is, sir.
right, when you already do that with your health insurance. I don't think they realize that. You guys already do that. You're doing that same thing right now, but you're doing that at a far higher of a rate than we could be doing. You're using your own argument could be used against you, and it is being used against you.
You know, if I crash my £40,000 car, and that's about, I don't know, $50,000 car. If I crash my $50,000 car, I have definitely, in my entire lifetime of paying insurance, not paid $50,000 in insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Not even close. So what covers my $50,000 car when I crash it? Oh, other people's insurance that they have paid.
Mm-hmm.
That is how insurance works.
And listen, if you have a problem paying for other people's things, then you shouldn't be living in the U.S. There are already a lot of the things that we currently have, and pay for, would be used by your taxes. If you're talking about the roads and the fire department and all that, like that's all your taxes. So you seem to have no issue there, at least seemingly, that you're paying for other people's quote unquote expenses. But why not when it comes to healthcare, which would again objectively save us money, make us healthier in the long term? I don't know why you wouldn't want that.
My friend Nigel just came in. Nigel and I are going on a field trip in a couple of weeks to somewhere that's very close to my house and not as close to Nigel's house.
Mm-hmm.
But he just came in and said, I walked in and Erica's bragging about her car. Just FYI, my car was £11,000 second hand. It was not fit, £40,000 was just because it's easy to convert into dollars.
Yeah. Again, guys, keep tapping and sharing. If you want to come on up and you disagree, hit the request button and call in on the tube, although I need to put the phone number back up. Yeah, so the military, Bruce Wayne, if you're complaining about the military, you're thinking too much of an all or nothing. You said, you mean military expense, had we failed to pay, we would be second or invaded. No. Our current Department of Defense or Department of War budget, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Sorry. Hold on. I just got a phone call. Do I have an appointment now? I hope not. No, I don't. Why are you calling me then, VA clinic?
By the way,
Good. Sorry.
you want to mute us?
No,
So we
no,
can
you're
listen
good.
to your
No,
message.
you're good. You're good.
My country's military expenditure is not first. And we're less than second, and yet we haven't been invaded. So that's that argument gone.
Yeah, like I think it's good to not think in an all or nothing mindset. We can still have. I find having a very strong military. I think that's important to have. You don't need to sell me on that. However, though, if the current budget is roughly $1 trillion, yeah, I think we can, number one, cut that down quite a bit and still have a very, very powerful military. And being in the military myself, yeah, we wasted a lot of money. I don't even have to be in the military to say that. I think we all can recognize there's a lot of wasted money in the military and a lot of other things for that matter. But surely we can use some of that towards healthcare and other expenses. It's just you guys don't want to. It's not something you seem to care about. Part of being a strong country is having a healthy country. What does it matter if we have the strongest military in the world times 10, but people aren't the healthiest? We're not the happiest.
Well,
We don't have all these things.
I was reading something the other day that if there were to be a war now and they were to have like mandatory conscription, that the vast majority of people would not be fit enough to, like, nowhere near fit enough to meet the basic entry requirements for the military, and therefore you would have to spend an awful lot more time and an awful lot of money, a lot more money training those people. I heard you talking about the food pyramid earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I can guarantee you that every young person who has left school in this country within the last 10, maybe even 15 years, probably 15 years, knows what here they call it the oh God, I can't remember what they call it. It's the Eat Well guide, or it
Yeah,
used
okay.
to be called the Eat Well plate,
Sure.
which basically shows you a plate of food and what proportion of that plate should be each of these different things. So what proportion of your plate should be like carbohydrates, what portion of your plate should be protein, what portion should be fruits and vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you that every kid that's left school here in the last 15 years knows that, because we teach it at school, and we teach it again and again and again at varying ages. Now, we're not the healthiest country, but we're healthier than the United States, because we teach people about you know, food and what you should be eating,
Mm-hmm.
and how to read the labels on food. Food labeling can be really confusing. Um, and we teach kids about the link between diet and exercise, and the link between mental health and physical health, and all of that stuff.
Yeah. It's not just about like the foods and the ingredients that we have versus other countries. I think a lot of people like to point it towards that because you're right. Your country is much healthier than ours, but you guys still have a lot of the same things we have. It's not like you guys don't have aspartame or any of those things that people complain about, right? It's a lot of things as you mentioned. It's the education towards it, which plays a huge role. But if we're looking at like there's the Global Health Index. Um, let's see where America is at on that, the United States. Gosh, don't tell me I have to scroll this low. 81.49. While the top 5 countries with the highest global health index would be Switzerland, Japan, Israel. We pay for their healthcare. Singapore, Taiwan. I wonder how they rate this, the global health index, dude. That might be interesting to know what that means. Let's see what they look at. How is the global health index rated? Does anybody know? I mean, I'll find out by looking at this. I'm just curious. I'd imagine they take into account a lot of variables, of course. Let's see. With a variety of factors contribute to the health of a country's people, the residents of developed countries tend to be healthier overall than developing countries. Of course, that makes sense. Developed countries offer a higher quality of life, including lower pollution rates, better infrastructure such as roads, utilities, greater access to quality healthcare, strong education, good jobs, nutritious foods, safe drinking water. They're often ranked as the happiest countries in the world, which shouldn't come as a surprise. On the other hand, unhealthy countries often lack adequate access to the same benefits. Residents often lack the education required to land decent paying jobs, which are often rare anyway. Pollution may be high, leading to health problems, illness, unaliving. Even fundamentals such as clean water and proper roads may be scarce. The life expectancy of the residents of these countries is often lower than the average, while infant mortality is higher. What else? Yeah, so they look at malnutrition, average life expectancy, availability of clean water, health risks such as tobacco use, high blood pressure, obesity, causes of unaliving. Yeah, interesting. But it's interesting how the U.S. isn't even in the top, I think, 20 of those developed countries. We don't have a lot of things. Yeah, Percy. Walkability is another thing. I mean, there's certainly going to be an effect on one's health if overall somebody, and we're talking about people as a whole, but if they are less active, right? If you go from having an active day where you're walking 7, 8, 9,000 steps per day, etc., then you go from sitting at a desk all day. Yeah, there's going to be big differences in one's health. So just more sedentary people in general, and less activity plays into it. What else did they look at? Well, they also look at this. Life. I already mentioned life expectancy, but cost to be healthy. Yeah, obesity rates, safety, sunlight hours all play a role. It's interesting. Anti-science. Paul, you can come on up, buddy. Paul, come on up. Do I know what?
Do you know the most obese country in the world off the top of your head?
Gosh. Is it a country that's like well known, or is it just some random country? I don't know. Just tell me. What is it?
It's Mali in Africa. And the reason that obesity is so common there is because being obese is a sign of they see it, like they used to in kind of European countries and the 16 and 1700s, like it showed that you were wealthy and you didn't need to do any like physical activity.
Right.
And they still kind of are in that mindset. It's very interesting.
It is, yeah.
Still true in some Latin American countries.
Hey, what's up, Paul? I just need to know your age real quick, Paul.
Over 18.
Okay, cool. And you just said, I forget what your comment said specifically, but obviously it looks like you disagree with the background.
Well, I just think, the Democrats are, they can't answer what is a woman because they think, and it's not their fault, it's just the social constructivists, the idea that everything is a social construct.
I don't think anybody on left believes everything is a social construct. Some things are, but you'd agree.
A lot of things.
Like money is a social construct. You'd agree.
I know, but if you ever read any of Yuval Harari's books?
What's your point, though? Like, what are you?
It's very, very. It's one of the most popular books in the last 10 years. *Sapiens* and some of his others, but the constructivists are, back from the '60s. But no, money is, like for example, money is social construct, but not really. We're storing value.
Right,
and even
societally based that value, but
I know, but nobody. Let me just say this.
I know, but you're making a straw man fallacy. Nobody's saying that everything is a social construct, and nobody on the left says that.
Okay, a lot of things are social constructs, according to.
But let's talk about the issue you want to care about.
But they map. But it's a confusion because they map onto reality.
Women. So, okay, it sounds like you know what a woman is.
You don't let me talk, I guess. You won't let me talk.
But you're trying to pivot away from the topic. You asked what a woman is. I assume you know what a woman is. I just want you to. I'd like to hear what you think a woman is. Maybe you know
it's the same thing in most of the animal kingdom. It's like the one that has smaller gametes. So males have sperms, and females have larger gametes like ova.
Okay. Well, you're speaking female. So do you think sex and gender are the same?
Yeah, that's the thing. They are the same. John Money in the 60s really popularized the separation between sex and gender. The reason people say
the point.
Let me just have 15 seconds. 15 seconds. Okay, so one of the real reasons that it was so popularized is because it's just a little bit more polite to say what is your gender versus what is your sex. We have always had words for masculine and feminine, and masculinity and femininity, but it doesn't mean that sex and gender are ever separate or should be separate. And so maybe we should go back. Maybe we should go back to getting rid of the word gender at all.
So let's talk about it. Okay, I gave you more than 15 seconds. So you think sex and gender are the same? I don't think
are
you
the
think.
Same.
Great. I'm going to pose you a few examples.
Just because some Yahoo in the 1950s said they're different doesn't mean they're different.
Well, let's test it out.
We don't have to obey all the words.
Let's test it out.
We don't have to obey everything that everybody says.
Please stop over talking me. Let's test it out. So if you think sex and gender are the same, are you telling me all men are males and all males are men?
Yes, exactly.
All males are men.
Except for intersex.
Okay. So we have a 5-year-old boy who's in kindergarten. That's a man.
Well, it is a male. An adult, a man is an adult.
Well, I didn't ask that. You said all males are men. I gave you an example of a male that's not a man.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. So not all males are men.
Okay, so here, let me put
And then this dog,
put the statement out.
we have a male dog. Would you call that a man dog?
Okay, so let's put the statement out.
Well,
let's put it this way.
I just want you to answer. Is that a man dog? We have a male. Is it a man dog?
No, let's rephrase it.
Okay,
So a woman is an adult. Wait, let me say this. I was getting more specific earlier, and you ignored it. So a male has smaller gametes. That's even true when you're a young or adolescent or any time pre-puberty. So the word man and woman is you're trying to smuggle in this social constructivist definition. If it is causing confusion, but having men with beards put on lipstick and call themselves a woman, then let's just get rid of that altogether. And Democrats are the ones that are falling for this. Just forget the whole thing and just call it, what is your sex?
Paul, calm down, first of all. Nobody's falling for anything. There's no falling for something. If you think that some people are, I don't know what your argument is here, that some people are pretending, what's the benefit to them of doing that? Why? Because
Tremendous benefits.
Tremendous. So go ahead. What's the benefit?
Social status climbing, for one. You're setting yourself uniquely out as a different type of individual. You're getting all sorts of stuff. It's like getting a peanut out.
Do you think that trans people have a higher social status on the whole than cisgendered people?
A lot of times, but whether or not why they do it is not even a valid question. It's irrelevant.
That was your claim.
It's absolutely a valid question.
No, it's not. There's all various reasons. We don't have to analyze every single reason.
No. We do. Right. First of all, Paul, we have to, when we're making a claim that people are pretending to do something, we have to look at what their motivation.
Let me answer this.
No, Paul, I'm still talking. I don't know if you can hear me, but you accused Doug earlier of talking over you, and yet all you have done since then is talked over either Doug or I. I want to know, because as far as I can see, in terms of rights, in terms of access to jobs, in terms of like money that the average person makes, all that I can see is for trans people, life is worse. There are tons of jobs that they would not be given access to, or denied the job, not given a reason why they're denied the job, but it's very obvious why they were denied the job. We've seen that trans people have been run out of jobs as doing things in like medical care and teaching. Right. So I want to know, what is their motivation if they are pretending and it's not real?
Well, it's the same thing as saying if there were a lot of people who thought they were Napoleon Bonaparte, and the question is, why do they think that? It could be a psychogenic illness.
For all we know. What's psychogenic?
What's psychogenic?
But
the question is, let me finish and I'll answer. But the question is, why do regular people, why does society need to participate in the affirmation or the diagnosis or the treatment, I should say? Why do we need to participate in the treatment of people who think they're Napoleon Bonaparte? And you could say, well, why do they think it? Would they have valid reasons? They may have valid reasons. Listen.
But then we should listen to said valid reasons.
Yeah, and my question is, why don't the majority of psychologists and psychiatrists agree with you that it is psychogenic?
Are you there, man? Your thing was cutting out a little bit, but Paul, I don't know if you're in an area where your connection got bad or whatever. Wait, you're starting to come back in, but still a bit spotty. I heard you say, "Can you hear me?" Yes, no, maybe. You'll come back in. Wherever you are, I'm sure you're going to come back in. Anyways, in the meantime, while that's happening, guys, keep tapping and sharing. Let's try to get the likes on up. We're only at 11,000 likes on TikTok. Let's tap away, guys. Let's try to get to 25K. And if you're joining live, click the red follow button on the top left. Give RFK a follow too, of course, as always. And please, everybody, sub to me on the tube. It is Dougielifts. If you're watching on tube, sub there, like there, etc. All right. Whatever your name was, I already forgot what your name was. But you can come on back, of course.
Psychogenic means that it has a psychological origin. But by the way, tons of stuff has a psychological origin. That doesn't necessarily indicate it's negative.
But that's what I wanted to get, because I wanted him to describe specifically what it was and how that was a bad thing. Because a lot of times it seems like they just repeat words that they've heard somebody else say without knowing the actual meaning of it itself. And I just don't think he knew enough about it. I think most of these people don't know enough about it. I think the trans topic is it's very easy to elicit emotion in men, obviously, as we see. And I think beyond baseline stuff, they don't really know much about it. It's just something they don't like, bothers them. That's it.
I think somebody in the comments, and I can't remember who it was, so please do forgive me, the person that first said this. But this is a great point, okay? If you're saying that we shouldn't buy into other people's delusions of what is real to them, without any proof that it is real, why should I buy into anyone's delusion that God exists? Why should I accommodate that? Because you can't prove that to me. You can only say you believe it.
That is different, Erica. That's allowed. Because it caters to white Christian men. All right. I need to start getting my calories in. I have not eaten yet.
I'm just eating a Bon Maman rhubarb yogurt. I freaking love rhubarb.
I'm not a huge fan.
Oh, look, George Michael's in the comments. You got to have faith. You got to have faith.
You gotta have faith.
Baby!
I've never seen rhubarb yogurt before either. Rhubarb.
These are. I mean, rhubarb is delicious. It's just sad that it's only available for such a short period of the year. But these are they're like a plain yogurt with like a rhubarb compote at the bottom, and they're freaking delicious.
People on the tube, let me. I don't have the number up. Give me 1 second, and I don't think my mod is in there posting. Okay, so if you guys can see on the tube, you can call that number, and we can have a conversation. People on the TikTok, obviously, you can just request the regular way. We're speaking of weekly enforced.
Would you, Doug, would you know what rhubarb tasted like?
No. I would not.
It's got a slight. If you would never eat, you have to put a lot of sugar on it for it to be edible.
Yeah. If I have to put that much sugar on something for it to be good, that's not happening.
You also have to cook it. You can't eat it. Like, you can't eat. It looks like celery, but it's kind of pink and green.
Yeah, you're not really selling me on it.
Yeah, no, it's delicious. It's so good.
Same with grapefruit. It is so fucking annoying that it looks so juicy and sweet, but it's anything but. Like, that really pisses me off about grapefruit. Actually, it's so deceiving.
I don't like grapefruit, but I do like rhubarb. Rhubarb is delicious.
I mean, I suppose if you dump sugar on the grapefruit, I guess it would be fine. But it's just bullshit that it's not sweet. Like, stop looking so good. You look good, but you don't taste good.
Do you know what? I've had boyfriends like that.
Yeah. Jimmy in the tube, you can come on up if you want. Again, guys, there's that number on screen. Please give it a call if you want. I'm happy to have a conversation with you. We don't need to yell. We don't need to scream. If you have evidence, we can, I'm sure, have a great conversation. Wait, What are you saying, Bounty? Wait, who's saying seed oils aren't bad? I'm saying they're not bad, depending on the context of things. So that's what I'm saying. There is the notion that they are very, very horrible, and I'm refuting that.
Someone in the comment, hang on a minute. Right, let me find them. Joanne, who is Scottish, said, I think Paul hates young women so much that he, to do with the trans thing, that he can't imagine a man trans. I think it's kind of the opposite of that, actually. I think it's that men think men are so great, and it's such that they can't imagine anyone not wanting to be a man.
I agree. I think that's yeah. Well, I mean, are you Are you saying that's why they almost exclusively talk about trans women and not trans men?
Yeah,
Yeah, because they don't seem to have
but
hatred towards the other way, or at least as much.
but also they have this real thing about protecting women. They want to protect women and they want to
So they say.
protect children, but not from Donald Trump. Not if it's someone that they like that's doing the bad thing to women and children. And I think the reason, I genuinely think, like, they know, I think men know how they treat women,
Yeah.
and they can't imagine anybody putting up with that treatment. Like, they can't imagine anyone voluntarily wanting the treatment that they give
Wanting
women.
to be that way,
Not just the treatment of, like, not respecting women, not thinking that they're valuable apart from, for bedroom related activities, but also, the whole kind of the way that they think about women, the way they talk about women, and the way that they sexualize women. They can't imagine, that they would ever, they can't imagine how anyone could ever want that for them. I'm sure
Yeah.
the reason that they're not so bothered about trans men is because they can completely understand why a woman would want the benefits that society offers men.
That would make sense, yeah. Yeah, I think that explains a good part of it. I think that's one possible explanation. And I think it's a multitude of things. I think a lot of it, too, is some sort of thing they do to protect their sexuality. I think there's a lot of quote-unquote straight men that are or would be attracted to trans women not knowing that they're trans. And I think there's a lot of
Yeah,
fear surrounding that.
I agree with
Whether you
you. I
call
think
them
there's a lot
straight
of
or
them.
not, whatever word, I
Yeah,
don't really give a shit. But yeah, I think there's a lot of fear surrounding recognizing that.
I think there's a lot of men that worry that they would get, and I'm using like air quotes when I say this, but
Yeah.
caught or duped, or, and that would end up somehow being a problem for their masculinity if they were to end up in that situation.
Well, because they would see it as them being quote unquote gay. And if you're quote unquote gay, then it means, yeah, you're less of a man and, all the things that come along with that.
It's fragility. All of it's fragility.
It is. Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of them, it is so, and I'm not saying this is the case for everyone. I want anybody to get the insinuation I'm saying every single quote unquote cis straight guy is secretly attracted to trans women now. But I will say that for a lot of them, it is probably so far suppressed that they don't even recognize that to be the case. And I would say with me, like 10, what are you, 20? I would say like, yeah, like 10 years ago, I probably wouldn't even have a recognition that I was attracted to anything outside of like just straight cis women, right? Like, but it sort of developed over time. But I also had an open mindedness to be okay with other aspects of my sexuality. I wasn't surrounded by people that would put me down otherwise. So I had a positive nature in which it became more accepted within myself. But I don't think a lot of these people do, of course. So I don't know.
I wish I wish I was a lesbian every day.
Mm-hmm.
Every day.
Oh, I know you say it often. So
every
I
day.
surely
I
believe it.
wish I was a lesbian.
Well, keep trying. Maybe you can instead of
Keep trying.
pray the gay away, pray the gay to me, or I don't know. You can do some
Pray
sort
the
of
gay to
opposite.
stay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There you go. Somebody wishes you were as well.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know whether you're a man or a woman, and therefore whether I should be flattered by that or or offended.
Are you attracted to like a specific type of man, or is it not like a specific?
No, it's more.
I know it's
Well, no, I am attracted to a specific type of man. They have to be funny and they have to be clever.
well, yeah,
Um, and apart from the funny and clever part, the rest of it is like table decoration, you know. That's not the main meal. The main meal is the funny and clever and
sure,
and the rest of it is table decoration.
yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely sapiosexual, 100%.
That's intelligence, attracted intelligence, or
Attracted to intelligence, yeah.
yeah,
But I don't want them to be I never want them I don't want them to be more intelligent than me. Like I can't and I don't want them to be funnier than me, but I want them to be able to make me laugh and I want to be able to have a conversation. I think it's a real skill to be able to have conversations on a whole bunch of topics. Um and I think it's a skill that's lacking in
yeah.
the world that we
Oh,
live
I agree.
in.
I agree.
There's nothing worse than going on a date with someone and they can't hold a conversation.
That's
Like,
got to be awful, right?
no, no, thank you. I went on a
Yeah.
date with a guy once who talked like Ned Flanders from The Simpsons,
Really?
and
Like
that I'm
how
gonna.
do like he used the same language? Like
It's sort of, but like his own version, and I have never been less attracted to someone in my whole life.
this is so funny.
And the problem is, I can hold a conversation with almost anybody, and I can hold up like, I I can hold
Yeah.
up
Oh, I
both
believe you
ends
could. Yeah. Yeah.
of
Yeah. I
the
believe that.
conversation if I need to. But the problem is, if I get the ick, I'm then not interested in holding up the
Yeah.
conversation, so
And
we
that's
just
it.
end up
Yeah.
sitting there in silence.
That's funny. By the way, thanks again to who sent me. Somebody sent me a whole thing of fidget toys, like 3D printed fidget toys. So I have this really cool thing. If you guys can see, this whole thing. But it's loud. I can't really do it here. They gave me a lot at this thing. I can do that. I have a whole bag of it, by the way. A whole bag of fidget toys. So thank you once again. Very much keeps me busy. Unfortunately, the ones I like the most are the loudest.
Are they all 3D printed
All
ones?
3D printed. Yeah, I'll show you more of them. Yeah.
Yeah, the kids at school have got a lot of those at the moment.
Got this one right here. So you can, it's kind of pokey. So it kind of like pokes in your skin, which I kind of like it. Feels good. This one's kind of cool, actually. It's like
Yeah,
the,
they have those ones. Have you got any of the ones that like screw into the other ones and they both go into each other?
oh, I don't think so. That would be nice, though. I would really like that. No, I mean, I have like this one. It's kind of like a flippy thingy. I don't really know the point of this one, but kind of flips. We got 160 people in here. Again, if you voted for Trump and you think MAGA is not anti-science, do come on up. And those on the tube, dial in the number. But why? Sylvia in YouTube. Yeah, that's again, guys. If you want to hear my overall stance on it, I'm not advocating specifically for a certain oil or not. Yeah, I do think it's probably a good idea that you minimize your oil intake all around. Emo bands. I'm not into emo. Not really my thing, personally.
Hang on, is that ice cream?
No. Don't worry, it's not
I was
happening
going
again.
to say,
No,
be careful, Doug. Be careful.
it's not happening again. I'll be okay. A one-time mistake. I tried to follow the science, but it kept leading to the money instead. I don't know what you're trying to say. Does that mean you don't like science because there's money involved? If you're trying to say something is not true, just say it's not true. Don't try to use the whole money argument.
So, have you heard this, Doug, that the new AI data center that they're building in, I think it's in the panhandle of Texas, will use more electricity. Will use more electricity than every residential household in Texas combined.
Really? No, that doesn't surprise me, but more than every combined in Texas, you said?
Yeah.
Gosh.
And more electricity than 37 out of 50 states. Not together, but each of 37. Yeah, I was going to say, the Texas power grid is really built for that, isn't it?
That's true. Yep. We'll see how that works out. What's the estimate for it being built? Like how long is it going to take?
I don't know. I know that it's 5 miles long. Like it will be so big that you will be driving, and 5 miles later, 5 miles after you reached it, you will still be driving past it.
That's goddamn big. Water resources, yeah, there's gonna be that as well.
Well, and we were talking about this at work today. And what would be great if you are going to do that? You need to build it near homes that require like heat. You could use that heated water to heat homes, right? And the problem is, first of all, in Texas, for most of the year, homes don't need any heating. And secondly, it's not going to be built super close to any residential properties. So that water is going to be used as to cool things. It would be much better to build it close to a residential area where for much of the year you need that heated water, or concentrate the heat that is in that water and have things like what's it called? Like turbines that run from steam that create electricity. So then you'd be partially creating the electricity that you need to run the place in the first place. But I don't think they have any plans to do anything like that.
As much about it as I probably should. It's gonna have to be something I need to look into. Radioactive water for the cooling. Huh.
That sounds safe.
Yeah. I wonder what the overall cost it would be to maintain it, and sustain it.
I don't even want to imagine.
Let's look it up. Let's see. Again, guys, in the meantime, if you disagree with the background, TikTok hits a request button. The tube, there's a phone number for you to dial in. What's it called again?
Oh, I don't know what it's called. It's just the new data center in the Texas Panhandle.
Let's see.
Yeah, Sabrina. Is it Sabrina? I can't. Oh no. Sabrina. I can't.
Annually?
Project Matador.
I want to make sure I'm talking about the correct one. Well, no, I don't think
It's
that, because right
Project.
now, Project
Someone in the
what?
comments said it's called Project Matador.
Okay, got it. So let me look that up.
I think you're right, Sabrina. Like using radioactive water, you then have the issue that it might contaminate groundwater, which would be bad.
Well, so development says development through phase one is going to be at least $2 billion. Total build out, 70 to 90 billion. It's a lot. They're going to need about a $500 million loan from MUFG. What else? God damn. Yeah, it's going to cost a lot. Ooh, boy. I think Trump, I think he wants to increase the DoD budget as well to 1.5 trillion. If I think that's what he said. Did he not say that? All right, let me look it up. Trump.
But why?
Well, I don't know.
Does he want to invade the world? What's going on?
Yeah, so God damn, he has proposed to increase it to $1.5 trillion, which is a 66% increase. Yet he's going to be good for the budget, guys. He's going to be good for the economy. He's increasing it by well over 50%. The
Did
DoD
he
budget.
say that in the same State of the Union when he said he was going to balance the budget? So
Yeah,
what? So in order
can't do
to
both.
balance that budget, what needs to go? Like everything?
Essentially, I mean, I, but his followers don't care though. It doesn't matter if anything makes sense mathematically or not, as long as that sounds good in the moment. That's all that matters.
Like when he said he reduced the cost of medications by 600%,
Right.
which would mean, by the way, that you were being paid to take them.
Which would be nice. If you pay me to take medications, I'll take them.
This medication used to cost $1,000 a month, but now we pay you $5,000 to take it. Like what?
Jesus Christ, this is wild. All right. U.S. I just want to look at the debt increase. It's already grew. Yeah, so it's already grew since he's taken office about $2.25 trillion, which is wild.
Also, this is what gets me. Why do they care about waste, fraud, and abuse when it happens in every other department apart from the Department of Defense? The Department of Defense has not passed an audit for, is it like, it's a period of time, like it's like 7 years or 10 years or something like that. Why do we care about waste, fraud, and abuse in every other department but not in that department? That makes no sense.
No, it doesn't. So the CBO projects that the federal debt held by the public will rise from 101% of the GDP in 2025 to 120% in a decade. What else did the CBO say? So the big beautiful bill signed in July. Let's see. Yeah, the CBO estimated it would increase the debt by 3.4 trillion over the next decade, or up to even 5 trillion, if some of the measures are made out to be permanent. He is projected to raise the debt more than any other president. I mean, like bar none.
Hi, Grant.
Let's see. I'm just trying to see specifically what the U.S. debt is at. Yeah. Oh, regardless. Hey, Grant, how you doing? Hey, guys, if you disagree with the background, hit the request button. YouTube comments, I haven't even been looking at yet. Let me see what the hell you're saying. You guys get some wild stuff. You guys think it was good? I mean, people bitching in the comments, if you think him increasing the military budget by over 50% is a good thing and good for our overall budget, you're welcome to come on up and defend that. I think that's a wild thing to defend, to increase our budget or our debt more than any other before. But you guys can call in. If you want to hide in the comment section all day, that's your thing. Okay? Let's look at Trump's approval rating right now. I haven't looked in a couple of days. His net approval is 14.3 minus. Your favorite British. That's good to hear. Yes, everything is okay if the Dow's over to 50,000. That's all we need, guys.
Yeah, that certainly helps me.
I don't think his net approval rating is going to go below 15. It's hit it a couple times. It's hit it down over here on November 23rd, back over here a couple weeks ago, and it just seems like he has a not necessarily like a ceiling, but a floor that he can't break. That he's never going to go. He's never going to go below a certain disapproval rating or above a certain approval. Yeah.
He's Teflon Don.
Yeah. But even so, even during the worst of the worst in his first term, I think he still had a upper 30% approval rating. Yeah, the average American very much disagreed, but his base still very much approved of him. All right, but let's look at the specific issues, though. Immigration is getting worse. His approval on immigration currently is 41.6%. Let me make sure you guys can see. Man, it's kind of small, huh? No, can you guys see? You guys should be able to. Yeah, you're good. Okay, anyways, that's immigration. That's currently his approval rating with that. Let's speak to this guest if they're ops. Hey, Matt, how you doing?
What's good, man?
Not much. How old are you?
18.
Cool. What's up?
So
Ooh, you got a lot of background noise.
Oh, sorry, man. I'm just walking. That's why.
All right, what's up?
I was just wondering, right, on why does John F. Kennedy believe the fucking wellness TikTok stuff? You know.
You got a lot of background. Are you going to be inside anywhere soon where there's not background noise?
Nah, sadly no, man. Sadly.
All right. Well, I'll tell you, it's just incredibly difficult to hear you. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to bring you down. But if you do get to a place where you're inside and there's no wind, call back. Okay.
It is quite windy here today. That's what that was. He was walking around in wind next to a road.
Well, that's not going to work out too well, buddy. All right, so his approval rating, or net approval, if you guys can all see the chart, immigration, he started off really high at 8%. Well, high-ish for him. He went up to 9, 10, 11% in the beginning of his first administration. We're down minus 13, near 14% on immigration. Not good. And that's one of the main things that people voted for him on. They voted for him on immigration and the economy. Those, I think, the two main things for the exit polls, if I'm not mistaken. Now, overall, the economy, minus 18.2. People are not happy with it. Trade, which seems to be the thing that he loves to talk about, minus 22.7. Overall inflation, minus 30.8. It wasn't even worse at one point. It was at 35.4, even went up to 24.1, but we're back to 38. So, I mean, these things aren't trending in a good direction for him.
I can I ask
Very
a question
least.
about how this works, because I've not looked at it, like I've never gone in and looked at it this
Yeah.
way. Say it's minus 14. Does
Mhm.
that mean 14 points lower than when he started, or
It's
14 less than 50?
no. So it's his. It's the net difference between the approval and disapproval. Meaning,
Oh, okay, got you.
yes, his disapproval on immigration is near 14 points below his approval, and we could look at it here. So if we want to go back to immigration in terms of the numbers of disapproval, so it's a 41.6% approval with a 55.4 disapproval, which would make that net difference
Got you.
for 14 or whatever. Yeah.
Can you look up his, because this is the really important one, approval rating amongst independents?
Yes, I can. Trump approval independence. No, I spelled independence wrong. It's okay. Typically, I like to go to Real Clear polling. So let's pull that one up here. Well, it was here. Well, let's just click on this link for now. Let's just see. This was somewhat recently. This is just a singular poll, guys, so please take this with a grain of salt. I want to find an aggregate polling site in which I can find it, but let's look at this for the time being. 26 points, you guys may not be able to see, but an estimated 26% of the independent voters approve of Trump so far, which is a minus 15% difference from a year ago, where they had a 41% approval. So, yeah, that's not looking good either. Let's see. Yeah, let me find an aggregate site because I don't want to just look at a singular poll.
Because this is the one to keep your eye on, guys. The approval rating among independents.
Yeah, no, you're right. I'm just trying to find it. It used to be here on Real Clear Polling. I just can't seem to find it for some reason. Because his overall approval rating on Real Clear Polling is like 42.7. Direction of the country, people only about 35.9% people believe we're going in a positive direction of the country. Wow, look at this. So you know how they would, I don't know if you can see on screen, but they used to say, and this was true, that Democrats had a very, very low favorability rating, that it was only like 14% of people approve. Well, we see it's an unfavorability of minus 27, which isn't good. And let me pull up this entire poll, or polls. So we can see that Democrats have a 36.1% favorability, which isn't good. But let's look at Republicans. So 36.1 versus now Republicans, 39.9. Not a huge difference. So yes, people don't seem to be liking Democrats, but they don't really like Republicans either. I just can't find the one among independents. It used to be here. I'm going to have to find it. Independence. God, I can't even spell independence correctly. All right, approval. Okay, cool. No, I don't want to look at Obama's approval among independents. I want to look at Trump's, for God's sakes. All right, that's not coming up. All right. You've heard MAGA regretting it. Yeah, I mean, I hear it, but I never like to get my hopes up too quickly. All right, let me just check on YouTube real quick. People on YouTube, again, there's that phone number you can call on, and if you want to talk about anything on screen. All the numbers show Trump has a high rating. I'm not sure which one you're talking about. We were just looking at plenty of polls. I didn't see anyone that said that he had a high rating.
I just want to say to the Debbie said if it's a phone poll, typically now they don't use just one type of means of contacting the public for their polling data. So they conduct email polls, they conduct polls on like cellular devices and on landlines, and via a ton of other methods. And if you want to see a poll's methodology, if it's a reputable polling site, or they will tell you what their methodology is.
Yeah, here, good. I found an aggregate site here. Oh, why it took me this long to find it. Okay, cool. You guys can see. Yeah, so this is Donald Trump's approval among independents. Roughly a 34.1% approval, which would make a net difference of, what is that, 27-ish? 27.5? So yeah, so you guys can see as I scroll down, all the polls that they use. So they used Morning Consult, Emerson College, American Research Group, Rasmussen, which typically always favors Trump, at least more so compared to other polls. But they still did. Look at all these polls here. I don't know if you guys can see on screen, but disapproval 32, 41, 38, 49, 17, 40. Like, it's not a single poll amongst independents show anything good in this direction. And we can look at their methodology if you guys want to look at it, if that's something you're interested in. That's wild, though. During the shutdown, there was a 34-point difference. He had only a 30% approval amongst independents back then. But that will make or break the election, how the independents feel. I mean, that was a big reason why he won. That's typically a big reason why any president wins, is they get the independents, they get the moderate left, the moderate right, or at least a higher percent of them. You're in Florida for 5 hours? Nice. What part? No, if you don't mind saying. Thank you for the follow there. Again, guys, if you're enjoying live, click the follow button, although I'd imagine everybody currently watching does follow me.
I don't.
Well, that's not good, Erica. I mean, listen, people on YouTube, if you don't want to go after off those polls and you just want to use your friend group as a reason why you think he has a high approval rating, by all means, go ahead. But we all know you guys didn't do that with Biden when he had objectively bad polling, or his favorability was not good. The polls showed that, and it showed itself in the election with Harris running. So you can say polls don't matter, but they do. The polls were accurate in this past election. You guys can say that they weren't, but we can go over to the polling in the past election. They were very much accurate.
My friend group thinks Donald Trump is a root vegetable. That must mean that he is.
Once again, guys, what I showed you is not a singular poll. I showed you the aggregate polling, and they took the average of numerous polls. I mean, I have, just in the last couple of weeks, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, what was that, 11 or 12 polls just in the last week and a half? A couple of which typically do favor Republicans.
I mean, listen, if you want to prove us wrong, call in and give us the name of the poll and we can all look it up together. That would be easy.
Yeah, that's all you guys have to do. I mean, I am showing you poll after poll after poll after poll. The best one that I see in the last couple of weeks is a course from Rasmussen showing his disapproval is still plus 17, meaning his disapproval is 17 points above his approval. That's his best one that I see in the last, since the new year. So, like, best case scenario, independents disapprove of him 17 points higher than they approve, just in the last, again, year. I see a poll that says it's 56% or 56 plus disapproval. So, I mean, you're welcome to show all the other.
I just typed into Google Trump polling well, and the first thing that came up was an article polling about Trump's mental acuity is causing concern.
Once again, combat Don, whatever your name is in the tube. You're welcome to show polls. You can come on up. You can call in. You can show any polls that you want that show that what I am saying is wrong, that independents love him, and that people in general love him. And towards the topic, no, I am not saying seed oils are good. Just because I'm saying something isn't bad, that doesn't mean I am saying it's good. There's nuance involved. I'm just saying that they don't deserve the demonization they currently get. And also, back to polls. Polls don't mean everything. I am certainly not saying that, but they certainly indicate how people in the very moment feel about something, depending on what the poll is.
I taught a lesson today on about radicalism, and it's in relation to Christianity and Jesus being a radical, right?
Okay.
And I was trying to teach the kids that what people see as radical in the time when someone lives, when we look at it from a modern perspective, we don't necessarily see as radical, right?
Sure.
And I was teaching them that using the women's suffrage movement. Like, now we don't see that as radical, but at the time, you know, they were militant. They were BOM-ing things and places, and you know, they were vandalizing and rioting and all of this stuff. And now when we look back on the women's suffrage movement, we forget that they were militant, and we forget and that the word radical is actually a neutral word, because there are radicals that we now see were doing the right thing at the time, but there are also radicals who we see in a negative sense, right? Some words, even though they seem to be, they're kind of neutral in terms of good or bad. Radical is not a good or not a word that describes something good or bad.
Yeah. Well,
it's just describing change.
Yeah, so I have the definition here. God, I hate that it doesn't show on the screen the way that I'm looking at it. Yeah, so a political radical is an individual or a group advocating for fundamental systemic changes in society or government, often aiming to address issues at their root. You're right, that's not fundamentally a bad or a good thing, depending on what it is. Radicalism spans the political spectrum of left to right, favoring rapid transformation, sometimes using extreme, unconventional, or extra constitutional methods to achieve their vision. So yeah, that doesn't have a positive nor a negative meaning inherently attached to it.
The founding fathers of the United States were radicals.
Sure, for the time, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think most Americans view that to be negative, that they were radicals.
No, but you're right. How we look at it in retrospect is still very different, right? Because as you were saying, like with women's right to vote, I mean, on average, people don't, they're obviously all for it, but at the time, yeah, it was a much bigger issue. And I think it's important that we carry some of that mind, and this is to the conservatives watching, that we keep those things in mind when we are advocating for things that would be quote unquote radical today. I think it's important to recognize that possibly in the future that these things that we would advocate for would just be things that were good that we should have been having a long time ago.
Well, and this is what makes me laugh when Donald Trump describes the left as the radical left. I can't see any huge changes. And when he says that, by the way, he's talking about the Democrats.
Yeah.
I can't see anything radical in Democratic policy. There's nothing radical.
They don't do nearly enough. They have failed time and time again to be radical, in my opinion.
If anything, it's too conservative.
Way too.
Like, it's not radical in any way.
Right, like them being radical would have been them being able to achieve universal health care, and no, Obamacare wasn't, even close to what we really wanted at the end of the day. Would be, yeah, that would be like one really big thing, but clearly that didn't happen. I mean, there would be a lot of things that if Democrats, not even Democrats, leftists had their way within the Democratic Party, we'd be looking at a very different society today.
What's interesting is actually if you look at the Democratic Party as they are versus MAGA, the people that are conservative, as in want to conserve things as they are the Democrats, and the ones that are the radicals are MAGA.
Now, so yeah, yeah, it's actually a really good point. And that just goes to show that parties do evolve over time, or devolve, if you want to look at it that way. The Republican Party that we see today is still very different than the Republican Party than it was in 2016, 2017. They're far more, in my opinion, radicalized, and certainly they're much different than they were in the early 2000s with Bush. So even in the last quarter century, the Republican Party has changed drastically. In my opinion, the Democrats have not changed tons in the last quarter century. I mean, new issues have arose, but I think in the way that Democrats go about things in relation to what society wants, I'm not sure Democrats have changed a whole lot, especially in relation to Republicans. Like, what is it that Democrats have radically changed in the last quarter century that would be negative for society?
I don't know, Doug.
I mean,
Kamala
as I said,
Harris did have a funny laugh.
That is true, and we just can't have a funny laugh. That would make things horrible. Abortion. Yeah, there's nothing that Democrats have changed in the way that leftists would want them in the last quarter century in relation to abortion. If anything, it's gone in the opposite direction with the overturning of Roe v. Wade. So you'd be wrong there, Combat Donkey. I want any of you people in the tube, since everybody on TikTok seems to follow me, everybody in tube, I want you to tell me something horrible for society that has happened in the last quarter century, specifically because of Democrats. And again, my argument is that they haven't been even remotely radical enough. I wouldn't even use the word radical to describe Democrats. They're heavily, heavily moderate. Again, abortion has, if anything, gone in the direction of what conservatives want. Political violence, no, no, no. When we look at the political violence according to the Department of Homeland Security, and we look at it according to the FBI statistics that they have, political violence is typically much more by conservative leaning ideology. In fact, we see roughly 78% of political violence in the last quarter century is because of conservative ideology when we're talking about political violence. That data was on the FBI and DHS website. They did take it off, though. Wonder why. But the problem is you guys don't like data. You guys like feelings instead. Everything is feelings. That's it. You see one unaliving of CK and think, well, that must be leftist, therefore all political violence must be leftist. No. In fact, I'm going to pull up this data. If you need to say something in the meantime, Erica.
No, well, I was just going to say exactly that. Just because you heard it and it's in the news, it doesn't mean that, I mean, before, I just want to draw people's attention back a little bit to a couple of years ago where was it 2 or 3 Democratic lawmakers in was it Minnesota were unalived?
Yes.
I think
yeah,
it was
about
Minnesota.
a couple years ago. I don't remember exactly when it was.
Yeah.
But
yes. Josh Shapiro had someone break into his house and try and set fire to it. Gabby Giffords being pew-pewed. That's it. Well, last year, okay, a year ago. Gabby Giffords being pew-pewed. You just don't remember these things. You only remember it when it's someone that you care about. And when it's not someone you care about, you forget about it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's why, once again, guys, as you were saying, you can't just go off of, well, this is my experience, this is what I see. Okay, that's fine, but again, we have to understand our inherent biases to want to listen to one thing and forget another if it fits our opinion or does not fit our opinion. That goes for people on the left, right, and in between. That's why data is so important, because people on the left are just going to only want to think of violence that occurred on the right and minimize any that occurred from the left, and vice versa, right? So why not take that bias away and use data, all right? So for example, right here, when we're looking at data between conservative, so the right and left, we see a hell of a lot more violence between the right and left. This is the last over quarter century, 94 to 2025. This is just one source of data, and I'm going to show you guys much more than this, okay? Now, I challenge anybody on YouTube to show me counter data, okay? I don't want you coming up and saying, well, this left leading person and like this person, that person. Sure, we're looking at the overall data, okay? I challenge anybody on YouTube to do that. You're not going to be able to, but I still challenge you. And I'm going to keep showing you more data, by the way. Let's look it up even more here. So this isn't really helping your case. Patterns in incidents and fatalities. Based on a government independent analysis, right-wing extreme violence has been responsible for overwhelming majority of fatalities, amongst amounting to about 75 to 80% of U.S. domestic terrorism unaliving since 2001. There was the 2018 Tree of Light synagogue attack, to 2019 El Paso Walmart massacre, etc., etc., etc. By contrast, left-wing extremist incidents, including those tied to anarchist or environmental movements, have made up about 10 to 15% of incidents and less than 5% of fatalities.
I just was looking up specific incidents. In 2020, there was also a judge called Esther Salas, whose son was pew-pewed by a lawyer who had described himself as being anti-feminist and anti-migrant, and had gone in front of this judge and clearly not got the outcome that he wanted, turned up at her house and pew-pewed her son because he was the person that happened to open the front door. You know, it's not, I don't know. I think if you don't value human life, which it seems to me that unfortunately we're in a situation where a lot of Trumpers don't value human life unless it's someone they know or respect, then you're far more likely to be able to take one if you don't value them.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's another thing I see. Let's see, yes. So overall, the study showing well over half of the political violence in recent decades has been caused by right-wing perpetrators, followed by then Islamic extremists, and then left-wing actors, apparently, quote unquote. From 2022 to 2024, all 61 political unalivings were committed by right-wing extremists from 2022 to 2024 alone. Okay, so again, I haven't looked at the YouTube comments since like 5 minutes ago. Let's pull them up and see what bullshit you guys are saying. Yep, of course, bullshit data, guys. Everything that you guys disagree with is bullshit data. That's such a goddamn convenient way to live.
Okay, so cool. If it's bullshit data, present an alternative.
Right. I want one of you guys to grow a pair, because none of you do. Grow a pair. Come on up with some data showing that left-wing ideology results in more violence. Prove it. I want you to come on up. All of you guys have phones. You can all dial that number that you see on screen. You're not going to do it. None of you guys have a pair big enough to come on up for some reason. It's just way too comfy for you to sit in the comments section while your mom feeds you food 3 times a day and you just sit there just complaining and bitching about people that do other things for a living than you do. That's all you guys do. You complain that this person does this podcast or this live stream and people give them money. Get the fuck over it. Just get over it already. And if your ideas are so correct and so less harmful, you should be easily be able to find the information. But I think most of you guys don't even know how to look for the proper information, which is very unfortunate because it's going to be very difficult to have an objective answer to this when you guys just go off of emotions. Everything based on you guys is by emotions. It's very, very difficult. And on TikTok, same deal. I know we don't have tons of people currently watching, but if any of you, well, number one, disagree with the background, cool, come on up. But two, to what we have been talking about, show that the right wing movement, if you will, causes less violence. Show it. So
I mean, it should be.
Back to what I originally said. I want any of you to show that over the last quarter century or so, you can go back a little bit further if you want, I don't give a shit, that Democrats have caused harm by the radicalist extremists. I want you to show that. Again, I think Democrats overall have stayed roughly the same. Republicans clearly have gone further right. But show the violence. Show it.
Well, I was going to say, even if you just take in the last couple of years, you've had like an attempt on Trump's life, like you've had Charlie Kirk, but when there were 3 Minnesota lawmakers who lost their lives on the same day,
Yep.
just that over like is more than more than on the other side.
More,
and
yeah,
if you
exactly.
add into that like the attempted kidnapping of Gretchen Whitmer, you add into it the arson on Josh Shapiro's house, what happened to Paul Pelosi, where the guy who broke in, it came out in the trial, was looking for Nancy Pelosi. And then you add in the January 6th stuff on top of that. Like, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and guys, she's listing examples because we've already provided the data, but the evidence that we have that right wing commits more violence isn't because of the specific anecdotes that she mentioned. She's using those as an example to back up the data. So I want you guys initially and primarily to show that data, that the left wing commits more violence, and then we can talk about anecdotes. That's fine. So you can mention Trump and CK and this and that. Cool. That doesn't state that the left wing commits more violence. You have to show the totality of it. I don't know why you have to explain this thing to grown adults. You have two choices. You can stay in your feelings, or if your feelings are correct, you should just be able to find the data. So stop being scared of challenging your own thoughts. I know it's a very scary thing to do, to see, hey, is this thought that I've had for a month, a year, 5 years, is it a correct thought? And if it's not, fucking change it. Or even better, maybe you can back up your opinions, and wouldn't that be great? You have the opportunity now to do that. You've always had, but I'm giving you a bigger opportunity now.
I was again, sorry, talking about my day today. At lunchtime on a Thursday's philosophy club. And we were talking about you know, about human experience of like, you know, the old, you know, if a tree falls in the woods and there's no one there to hear it, does it make a sound? Okay. And there's the argument that yes, it makes sound waves, but that sound waves really don't mean anything unless they are experienced by somebody.
Sure.
And getting young people who are like 11, 12, 13 to give logical arguments as to whether, you know, what they think about that, and what is their evidence for it, what is their thinking, what is their reasoning. That's why doing stuff like that in schools is so important, so you know, expanding people's critical thinking skills is really important. Yeah, you saying Charlie Kirk, that's one person. You know, getting people to expand their critical thinking skills is really, really important because there are not enough people in the world who can critically think right now.
Well, once again, every single one of you in the tube section are still proving my point. You guys are all going off of opinions and emotions and your feelings. That's all you're doing. I haven't seen one evidence cited in the tube comment section. And the one complaining that you did, and I just didn't see it, I have scrolled up and down. You don't have any source. All you're saying is names of people. Again, we've already covered that. We're looking for data. I don't know why it's so difficult to ask you to provide data, guys. Just provide the data. It's like I'm talking to a brick wall here.
I want to. Stephanie said rule number one of Philosophy Club is you don't talk about Philosophy Club. That's untrue. Rule one of Philosophy Club is you talk about Philosophy Club all the time to make everyone else feel inferior, that they don't know how to argue like the people in Philosophy Club do.
Somebody claims that I have a fascist flag behind me. I don't know if you see what it says, but it's actually the opposite of that. But I know reading is difficult for many of you guys. Reading is very, very difficult to do. There we go, Papa. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. See, guys? Somebody provided something. Perfect. That's all I was asking for. And then we can go through it. Papa, I really appreciate you. We probably very much disagree on things, but I appreciate you that you were able to provide something. So let's go through it, okay? Does it allow me to copy it? If not, I'm just going to have to type it in separately. I don't know if, Erica, you're able to... it's just Axios. If you just type in Axios...
yeah, I looked at it. It said left-wing violence outpaces right-wing violence for the first time in 30 years. So you're not proving your point that the last 25 years there has been...
Well, let's pull it up on screen because they're not going to believe you saying that because you're a Brit. Yeah, I assume it's this latest one here. All right.
Most of it's behind a paywall.
Okay. So Papa, I am going to pull up the exact source that you showed me. This is it right here, and I'm sure you guys all can see that. So this is going back to 95 up to 2025, so as recent really as you can get it. So this again isn't really working out in your favor because the left wing is still very, very low. Like, that's the orange. Well, right wing is the gray. So you still see significantly more in the last, 30 years? I mean, and this is the one that you told me to go to. This is the Axios website. Again, there was 1 year, this last year, that you saw more. Every other year, no. So.
And what's the last year on that, Doug? What's the most recent
2025. 2025.
Okay. So what you're telling me is from 19... it's only to July 4th. So that's only for half of the year. Where's the other half of the year?
I mean, I can see if I can pull up a more recent one, but I mean, that's pretty good data right there. But I can try to find more. Let's go back to Axios. I don't know, what's the most recent one they have? I don't know. I think you have to be subscribed to it. But yeah, I mean, the most recent year we saw that. I will acknowledge that, but I think it's important to acknowledge all of the other years. Well, Anthony, your Papa was the only one to provide data. Like, if you guys can at least learn one thing from your fellow conservatives, He provided data. Okay, that's all I was asking for. Again, your feelings aren't data. I really hate to break that to you. All right, guys, I know you're not going to like this, but we'll talk to him. Hello, Zach.
Yo, I just got back from Mexico. I literally was a couple towns down from Puerto Vallarta, got out of the airport. We were the last flight out. The people at our hotel are like still sheltering in place. It's pretty crazy.
All right. What's up, man? What do you want to talk about today?
Oh, I mean, the same thing. This MAGA is anti-health and science. I really don't understand how you would like why? Why would you? Do you really think you're a liberal?
I would describe myself as a leftist more than a liberal.
But like hypothetically, on like sort of common sense health, like leftists should be in the same on the same like we should be on the same team as liberals and frankly, you know, the Maha conservative side of things. Like,
what do you mean by same side?
Do you know who owns? Just a question. Do you know who owns all the food companies?
The Jews, I'm sure.
The people who own all that's. I hope that's not serious, but I mean that was a hilarious joke. The tobacco companies own all the food companies, and the tobacco companies were all created by the chemical companies.
Yeah, listen, I number one, I would have to look into that, but I'm not advocating for the highly unethical things that these companies do for profit. I would.
Yeah, no,
we may disagree on certain examples.
That's a leftist thing.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So you think just anyone?
Leftists in general would be typically against these major corporations profiting off of the backs of people. Yeah.
Got it. Right. So, and before, like, if we read, let's say, this Vanity Fair article about RFK back before he joined up with the sort of MAGA situation, and Vanity Fair is doing a whole article praising him for being like a sort of like tireless fighter for health and wellness and environmental, safety, things that I assume you and I would all agree on, right?
I would agree that he is for that, but why is he working for an administration that reduces EPA funding if he cares about the environment so much?
Well, so if I asked you if environmentalism and health was like your number one priority and you had the ability to get things done on your agenda, but you had to work for a guy that you didn't like, do you think it would be worth it if you could make real change?
Well, that's a hypothetical because we don't even know if he's going to try to enact real change.
He's made massive change already in I could go and get you a list, but he has accomplished more.
You should, because I would like to know exactly what RFK Jr. has done to help with health of United States citizens.
Okay. I mean, listen, just the one thing that I could reference, sort of off the bat is, do you remember the pyramid? When I grew up, the food pyramid.
Here we go.
Was a big deal. Yes. When I grew up in 80, it was a big thing. So I grew up in the 90s. The food pyramid was a huge thing, right?
Yes.
And it said that we should be eating like massive amounts of carbohydrates every day, going towards a center point where like meat was small and fats were small. And we have found over the years that was like the primary sort of driver of obesity, which is the primary driver of most of the chronic diseases that we have in this country. And RFK is the first person in charge of our fucking Food and Drug Administration and our health and well-being in this country that actually made it a change. And how hard is it to make a change when, again, for decades we've known that like it was a completely inverted pyramid? It was
do you know how many grams of fat you're supposed to have per day versus grams of carbohydrates?
I don't know the numbers off the top of my head.
Okay, so you're supposed to have like 2,000 grams of carbohydrates versus 44 to 77 grams of fat per day. If you're going based off of a 2,000 calorie diet, if you're going based off of a 2,000 calorie diet, you should have more carbohydrates, somewhere between 200 and 300 grams of carbs per day. Your body needs carbohydrates. So that's why it was technically a larger piece of the pyramid, because studies have shown what the human body needs in terms of grams per day, comparing carbohydrates to fats.
I want to say something real quickly, and I've said this before. Nobody followed the food pyramid. Like, it was not a thing that anybody followed. Like, the standard American diet was very different than what the food pyramid was. And data shows that carb intake from the 90s actually declined to the 2020s, where we're at right now. So people did the opposite. However, fat intake went up. And we know fats are 9 calories per gram, while carbs are 4 calories per gram. And that makes sense why the overall caloric intake has increased, while carbs have gone down. But again, fats have gone up. So I don't think it's because of carbs.
Diet really big?
Yeah, it started really big in the late 90s, early 2000s.
We're sort of missing the point. We're sort of missing the point, which is for whatever you think is, and I don't know where you were getting the averages on a 2,000 calorie diet. No. But I'm saying if that's data from,
Zach, you would
like,
agree
I'm just wondering.
That's not something you would disagree with, that the average caloric intake has gone up over the last couple decades. Obviously, since obesity has gone up.
Obviously, of processed foods made by the food corporations, owned by the tobacco corporations, owned by the oil companies, owned by the military industrial complex.
Can you
Literally,
show
you
that
can look
evidence?
that stuff up.
Yeah, I want you to show me.
That's so
Zach,
easy. Just look it up.
No, I did look it up, Zach. I looked it up while you were talking, and I can't find that you're correct that the food companies are owned by tobacco companies.
Okay, so look at Philip Morris. Go look at Philip Morris and look what Philip Morris owns. By the way, BlackRock owns all of it, to be clear.
But that doesn't.
But they're not a tobacco company.
No, you're right. BlackRock is a private equity company that exists above all of those companies.
Sorry, they're not a tobacco company. They have holdings in a variety of companies.
Okay, so
Your claim was that all the big food companies are owned by tobacco companies.
That was his claim. He straight up said the tobacco companies own the food companies. Everyone in here heard that. I think what he's trying to say is that this umbrella
just one
corporation.
One example, and I'll give you more because I'll just go back to the thing. But Philip Morris owns crap.
You're lumping. Okay, so Philip Morris, like you said, it does own multiple companies. However, that does not mean that the tobacco company that they own is contributing to their food production. I need a link for that.
Again, they took the chemicals and the industrial processes that they had developed in again, either the chemical corporations like DuPont or the tobacco corporations. All of that stuff post-war started to contribute to the process nature of our foods. And of course, they got their processing know-how and their chemical supply chain, and everything that they do comes from these, again, oil companies, because again, all of it is used interchangeably, right? Like when they use hexane to process your food, that comes from.
I'm going to stop you. Hang on. So you mentioned Philip Morris. Philip Morris renamed itself to Arteria Group in 2003, and they spun off the remaining interest in Kraft Foods to 2007. So therefore, Altria does not currently own these food companies, which was former Philip Morris from the USA. So your claim is wrong because it doesn't even own them anymore.
I just looked up the exact same thing and found the exact same
Great
thing.
minds think alike.
Yeah, again, it was easy for them to divest when it became a PR issue, and then
but you're still making this claim for today. You're making this claim to support RFK Jr., who's going to come in and, I don't know, redo all of this when he really hasn't.
Guys, I literally, if your interest is in just mindlessly simping for finding any little way you can pretzel yourself to fight the very real point that I'm making, the very substantial.
Do you honestly think that we're cool with random chemicals in our water and food causing diet? I'm not cool with that. I do agree. We need changes. However, the changes that are being made, trying to appoint a surgeon general who is waffling about vaccine efficacy, is scary.
But again, scary. Why is it that the guy who you can acknowledge is fighting the very real battle that he's on the right side of, right? And
he's not fighting, though. He's not doing anything but changing the pyramid.
So again, you're telling me, just to be clear, that's just not true, by the way. That's just not true. Nestle has
what policies, Zach?
Yeah, what is he done that's going to be a net benefit for people's health?
Okay. So we already talked about the food pyramid. I just want to stay there.
And how does that benefit people's health?
Hold on.
Tell me exactly how.
Guys, stop fighting just to fight and ask yourself if the guy whose entire life, before he was in politics, when he was an environmental lawyer from fucking Harvard,
When he
who
was
sued
unaliving
Monsanto.
Somali children by giving them misinformation about the measles vaccine, yeah, I'll pass. Thanks.
It's Samoa. It's American Samoa.
Oh, sorry,
you clearly
Samoa.
do not know anything about what you're talking about. So I just want you to just try to listen for a second.
80 some odd kids who were unalived because of measles, because he went there and met with the director of their anti-vax campaign and pretty much influenced the unaliving of 80 some odd, I think it was 80 some odd children.
Do you hear yourself? Like you don't know
Yes,
anything
I
about
do
what you're
hear
talking
myself.
about.
And
I
I'm
understand.
teaching actual students who are going to go into medicine.
That's so
and
scary.
I'm telling them right now that what RFK is doing is he hasn't done anything. He flipped a food pyramid around and increased the amount of saturated fats, which we know for a fact are not cardiovascular benefits. There's no cardiovascular benefits to having excess cholesterol circulating in your bloodstream.
So Zach, I do want to give you a breadcrumb. I think he probably has good intentions, but I think impact matters a hell of a lot more than intentions, right? Like I think he thinks he's doing a good thing, but I think a lot of things he's doing is just not backed by the evidence, despite his intentions of trying to make people healthier.
And by when you say backed by the evidence, you mean the evidence produced by the literal food system that we're saying is intentionally poisoning our populace for the last 50 years.
But that's the part you're gonna
evidence?
have to. That's the part you're gonna have to prove, though, because that's the part we always disagree on. We agree that there's
problems. One second. We do not disagree that our food companies, which were again owned by our tobacco corporations until it became a public relations nightmare in the 90s, which means that they were the ones in charge when processed food became the primary diet of the American people. And you can't argue and tell me that processed foods haven't maintained their position as the primary source of the American diet. Is that correct?
I agree processed food is a big part of it, but we disagree on like the solution, though. That's the thing. I think this ultimately goes back to capitalism as being the problem. And you think they're somehow trying to harm us and things like that. I think capitalism would be mostly the issue here. But I don't think they're
and what if I said you're
100%
correct? You're 100% correct. You are 150% correct. And the fact that we can agree on that means that you agree that capitalist system that has incentivized profit over people for now, again, 50 years as the primary driver of our American politics is as right now dealing with one of their major fighters, the guy that sued Monsanto, right? That cleaned up the Hudson River, right? That guy is now currently in charge of our health. And your idea is that he got there and has just suddenly become like a completely like feckless little like troll that isn't still doing the thing that he's been doing his literal entire life.
No,
the reason you think that is because you don't like the administration.
I'm just asking what I disagree.
What are the policies?
I disagree.
What are the policies
One
that he's
second.
put
What
in
if I
place?
told you that your baseless hatred of the man is making him less effective? One second. If what you're saying, one second, you think he's well-intentioned. You said that.
I believe.
Do you support him? Yeah. Have you been supporting him? Because it looks like what I'm seeing right now is that literally the photo you have right here tries to paint him as a like bad person. And so I'm asking, do you think you would be more effective if every liberal was like, you know what, I don't really like Trump, but I do really believe that our food system, our ag system, our pharma system is deeply harmful for American people based on the abuses that capitalism guarantees become systemic in the system.
But
we can have issues with capitalism and still not support Trump because he is a rapist. I'm not going to support a rapist.
Again,
sorry,
you're right.
Never
you're
gonna
like
happen.
you're like
Never
because
gonna happen.
you're like because I don't like this man's supposed
because
sexual
he assaulted
predilections.
A woman?
1 second.
Maybe multiple?
There's many of them.
I cannot like him.
So just to be clear, you would rather kids continue to eat processed foods and work their way into diabetes and cancer and heart disease. You would rather that than have to support a man who you think
I don't think those are the options.
Assaulted a woman.
I don't think.
Okay, first of all, it's not quote unquote. It's not quote unquote. Let's be fair.
It is literally quote unquote.
No, it's not, because we're not going to get into the trial and all that.
I don't want to get into that either.
I don't want to get into that. What I'm going to get into is the fact that RFK Jr. Yes, he is an environmental lawyer. Yes, he should be actually furious about what Trump did to the EPA and what is that?
It's my phone.
But
Sorry.
my problem is RFK Jr. is not really doing anything to help the public. We're experiencing a measles outbreak, a major measles outbreak, and he's not doing anything until everyone's staring at him and he's like, oh, well, yeah, Dr. Oz says you should definitely get the vaccine. Okay, you could have stopped this before.
Hey, by the way, guys, I got 10 minutes until I gotta go to. I got 10 minutes until I have to go. By the way, unfortunately, I wish I had more time, but I only have 10 minutes left. What was that, Zach? No, you said something. I didn't hear what you said.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to ask how many people have died from measles.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and take a look. It's probably, because again, we have modern medicine, but you can look up how many measles deaths.
Got it. So
I'm also concerned. Stop.
Just so you're aware.
Stop.
1 second.
I'm concerned about the longevity. Do you know what measles does to the human body? These children, you're talking about disabilities with having type 2 diabetes and obesity. They're going to end up with disabilities because their brains are swelling and killing off brain tissue, like that 7-year-old. He's going to have cognitive issues for the rest of his life if he survives.
Do you know how many hospitalizations happen as a result of bad reactions to vaccines every year?
You tell me.
Like tens of thousands, I believe.
And where are you getting that number from? Where? Where are you getting the number from?
I just want to know before I go and do your homework for you. If I come back,
you made the claim, sweetheart.
What is your claim, Zach? It is your claim, Zach.
I agree. So if I come back and I can show you that yes, there are tens of thousands, I believe, potentially even hundreds of thousands every year of bad reactions to vaccines that end up people in hospital.
So you said hospitalizations.
If that is the actual truth, does that change your opinion on the requirement that the desire to require people to give vaccines to their kids?
I still believe that all children should be vaccinated.
I understand that you believe that. But I'm asking if you find out that literal kids.
But Zach, there's nuance.
Your science has to do with harm, right?
No,
right?
It has
you're
to
worried
do
about
with
harm?
mitigating harm. It has to do with reducing the chances of harm. And those possibilities with being vaccinated outweigh those with the possibility of having an allergic reaction. The pros outweigh the cons when it comes to vaccinations.
Is there, Zach? Is he cutting out for you guys? Is he there? What's up?
He went mute and then he came back and then he went mute. I didn't
I don't hear him.
Any of the mods.
No,
I don't know. He's muted.
I only muted myself because I was in the bathroom. But Zach, if you're there, come back. I don't know what happened. But guys, keep tapping share if you're on the tube. Make sure you subscribe. All that. All right, good.
1986, we made it illegal to sue vaccine manufacturers, and then since then we've added something like 17 shots to the schedule, to the infant schedule, including disease, shots for STD, related diseases like
HPV.
But hold on, here's the thing.
I'm not
saying
HPV?
that. 1 second. No, it's actually Hep B or Hep C.
That's not just sexually transmitted, but okay.
It is, but if we assume that some vaccines are good, that's great. I'm down to assume that, right? Because I don't think that it wasn't there. There's an argument to be had that it would be better to have natural immunity. That most of the deaths from these things had actually gone down by 90% by the time we added them to the public health record. But even if I said, hey, before we made it illegal, you can assume there was some incentive for them to get it right.
Okay, well, if you want to get something right, first of all,
is,
start with Hep C. Again, why did you cut me off when I was saying Hep C is rarely transmitted sexually, by the way? It's blood-to-blood contact. So again, when you're going to speak to me, you might want to have some facts in front of you.
Blood-to-blood contact, while it is not required to be...
Like needles.
Okay, so but those are what we consider to be sexually transmitted disease. That when people get close enough to share
an
blood
injectable
instruments,
rug, No, that is not a sexually transmitted disease. What are you talking about? You don't even
Okay.
know the difference between bloodborne and sexually transmitted. Anyways, by the way, I did look up your numbers of hospitalizations from the measles vaccine, and according to Johns Hopkins, it says severe side effects from the MMR vaccine are rare, with serious complications occurring at a rate far lower than 1 in a million doses. Your chances of being hospitalized with measles virus, however, 11 to 17% of people who contracted the actual measles virus in the US require hospitalization. So I did my research. You don't have to do it for me.
How many people experience complications with ABs?
Why are you pivoting from the MMR
I thought we're talking about
vaccine to
vaccines.
ABs?
Yeah, I thought we were talking
No,
about vaccines.
because what we're talking about is the ability to require someone undergo a medical position versus allow them to choose potential harm for themselves.
But why don't you
Right?
address her
First of all,
specific
you're
claim?
comparing preventative medicine to an actual active procedure that some people do
But first off,
need for
it's not
medical
preventative.
purposes.
It's not preventative. You can still get the disease even after you have the vaccine, so it's not completely preventative. And
Not with the
secondly,
measles. The
it does.
measles is actually highly effective. It's somewhere like 95 to 97%
Great.
effective. It's
Again,
one of the most
I
effective
recognize.
vaccines we have,
I hear
actually.
your argument. But again, what you're saying is that we should be able to compel people to do things with their bodies, right? And I'm saying I don't necessarily understand. Given that
Because your
I
body
assume,
is interacting with other bodies in the public sphere. Me being pregnant and miscarrying and needing an AB to flush out that tissue so I don't become septic is nobody else's problem but mine.
so you believe we should limit ABs to just miscarriages?
No, I'm
Drew
saying
Beach said that.
if anybody chooses to get an AB, that is their choice, but they are not affecting you, Zach, or me, or Doug. If someone decides to walk out in public with the measles and cough in a closed space, and it hangs out there for 2 freaking hours, by the way, measles virus is very robust, and an unvaccinated baby goes into that room, that baby is now in harm's way.
So we should compel people to wear masks?
Again, masks are just a piece of the protection. Masking and social distancing and washing your hands is literally just being a member of society and understanding and empathizing with people who A, are immune compromised and they can't get vaccinated, or B, they're too young to be vaccinated, like a newborn, for example. That is what I'm talking about, is doing your part as a human being, as a member of this society. Again, ABs are not affecting anybody else walking around in society.
Oh, by the way, one quick thing. I'm sorry. Terrell, thank you for the $1 on the green app that starts with the C. I'm sorry. I'm just seeing that right now. I apologize. And guys, unfortunately, I really have to wrap. I really have to wrap this up. I really wish we can keep going, but you can get your last word out, and then Alex can get your last word out. Right, I really got to wrap this up.
Yeah. If you guys can't see that you have literally no principles when all this stuff comes, that you go
Really?
from
Because
personal
you're
liberty.
over
One second, you
here
go from personal. Hey,
advocating for babies getting sick. You are over here advocating for children to end up in the hospital with swollen brains.
You are literally
That's weird
advocating
to
for
me.
women
That's
to be
weird
able
to
to
me.
unalive babies on purpose.
There's no baby
Well,
before
but
10 weeks, which is when most ABs occur, by the way.
just to be
most
clear,
ABs occur between 8 and 10 weeks. It's a
So they
clump
should
of
be illegal.
cells. It's
So
not
they should be
even
illegal.
able to live on its own.
So they should be illegal after 10 weeks.
no, I think this now gets
No.
into the moral conversation of what personhood
And
is.
I'm not
When
going to
we
have a
when we
conversation because it's the same Philbro talking points.
it is.
You cannot get pregnant, and if you could, it would be none of my business what happened to your body.
All right. Anyways, I
You
really
have no
wish we can
principles.
continue this. I will try to be live later, and then
And I'm going to
Leslie
keep
continues.
teaching my students these no
All right.
principles that you keep talking about, Zach. Okay.
All right. All right, guys, I really got to get out of here. I got to get to the gym to work out a client. But if you guys
Bye,
enjoyed live,
Doug.
obviously, see Alex. Make sure you guys give Alex a follow. If you enjoyed live, click the red follow button on the top left on TikTok. People on YouTube, hit the subscribe button on the top right. Guys, vice versa. If you're watching on YouTube, follow me on TikTok. If you're both on TikTok, YouTube, etc. Join Discord. If you're on TikTok, go to my bio, join the Discord. If the link doesn't work, shoot me a message. But I do announce it ahead of time when I go live, except today I didn't, but every other time I do. That's pretty much all I got. Take care, guys. Be good. Be good to yourself. Be good to others. And